Okay guys, welcome back to another video. So last time we spoke about what Catadrops actually are, how to use them, and the sort of theory behind why they work. So today I'm going to actually talk a little bit more about essentially how I defend against Catadrops. So there's some early game strategy and there's some later game strategy, and it kind of depends on how fast you are at playing and how good you are at reacting, and just also how much gold you have. So the normal thing that will happen when you get attacked by catapult drop is from somewhere off in the fog, this airship is going to come sailing in to your base. So if you don't have much scouting information, and you don't know this is coming, or you don't see where it's coming from, then towers, normally around the gold line or around whatever key buildings you're trying to protect, is a fairly decent defense because it delays them for a while. What this does is it zones the airship away, and I'll make a video explain more a bit about actually some details of zoning. The idea is around this tower, in its range where it can attack, that keeps the airship away. Because if it doesn't, then obviously it's going to get shut down. This thing is going to actually come and pick off this airship. Can I target my own units? There we go. Yeah, so this will start dying. And you can't really sustain an attack for very long. But obviously the issue with the tower is we can just drop these catapults, come in and, well, start shooting. So this has really got a very limited lifetime on how long that's actually going to be effective. Maybe 5-10 seconds, long enough for you to react, sure, but if you don't do something, this really just wards it off for a little while and not much more. But that is only going to cost you a little bit of gold, tiny bit of APM to actually defend it just fine. And obviously it doesn't cut into your unit population. So the way I normally tend to defend this in sort of the mid game, or sort of the mid to early game when the airships actually tend to turn up, is I like to have a squad of about 4 or 5 archers, and I have these bound to maybe my hotkey 2 or hotkey 3, whatever isn't my main army hotkey at the moment. So when the airships come in, because you can see they're not actually that fast. They're fast enough to speed up versus catapults, but they're not actually that quick on their own. So what I like to do is keep these hang back. As the airship comes in, I'm going to go for the attack and force it back out again, because then I can actually just dash back, dash forwards. And the reason obviously I wouldn't leave them at the edge here is because, again, the catapults can do things like this, where they can actually just sit out and attack the archers. So this is what I like to do for the early games. Actually have this little squad here, and you can defend multiple bases. Remember, these are a lot more mobile than towers, and you can make use of them. Once you pick off the airship, you can actually make use of these elsewhere in the map. So I like this solution a lot better than just taking a tower. It requires a bit more APM, a bit more awareness. You've actually got to be able to fight against this. But it allows you to deal A with the airship slightly more effectively, but B also with the catapult slightly more effectively. And it's a slightly more versatile option. It does obviously cost a little bit more gold. The other upside for this is obviously if you get your archers right up in the face of these catapults, they have a minimum range of 3, so they can't attack. They can't do anything, whereas the archers can obviously quite happily sit there and plug away and take this out. Oh, let's not do that. So the final option, which tends to come a bit more in sort of the mid to late game when you have the gold to afford this, but particularly if you're being, say you're up against a wolf and catapult drop composition, and you're thinking they might go into dragons afterwards, ballista are a really strong choice. They do a lot of damage. What is it? It's base 30 damage in a single hit, and they actually have a lot of range. Look how long that range is. So from all the way over there, so Ballista can actually pick it off really, really quickly. And the other key thing about Ballista is they can be loaded up into airships. You can chase the opponent's airship around. They are a little bit limited. They're quite slow, and they're not great against dragons until you get the upgrade. But for a strong sort of core defense unit, the Ballista is quite a nice choice. So I hope that guys gives you a little bit more insight into how to play the early game, how to play the mid and late game versus these Catadrops styles. and it's all about making sure that you spend less APM and less gold defending the attacks, so that you have more resources, both physical and in-game, to then counterattack and keep the pressure on your opponent. So, good luck in your games. I've been Zhao, and I'll see you next time.